Hello, welcome to another great night with the whole Pet Academy show. I am Christy Newmeyer Smith, and tonight we are joined with Stephenie Calhoun. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Calhoun. Okay. It's a pleasure to see you.
Yeah,
And
pleasure to see
Stephenie
you
is
too.
going to be one of the speakers at the Teton show. Very excited about the whole Teton show. Who do you have with you?
This is my dog Nibbler.
Nibbler. Oh, great name. I love that name.
Yep, he's my little heart dog.
Aw,
So
that's so sweet. He's
he's
really
hungry.
cute. Hungry, yeah. I've got a couple pacing around. They're like,
Yeah.
So we have I'm just over here putting things in the chat. You are the meditative groomer. Tell me how you came about with this name.
Um. So it's kind of a long story. But it started off during a kind of journey with my mental health. I found out that I am autistic and ADHD, and I also deal with, depression and anxiety. So, it's been I went on this journey to kind of figure out myself and kind of deal with a lot of the um issues I was having cuz all of my mental health issues were affecting me physically. And so I actually, after years and years of trying, I finally figured out how to meditate, and it kind of changed my life. And so I kind of went with that on my, I started to get more just in general, more holistic and more um, going for more of that, like, more relaxed meditative vibe. And when I decided I wanted to open up my school, that's when I was like trying to decide on names. I knew what kind of vibe I wanted, but I couldn't figure it out. And somebody finally was like, "But you love meditating. um why don't you be the meditative groomer?" And so I kind of just stuck with it. And so, like, now I have the Meditative Groomer Academy as well. Um so yeah, that's the short story, yeah.
That's the short story. So when you started off, was it starting off as the meditative groomer as your own small grooming business, or was that always the school name?
I kind of was just marketing myself at first.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to get into teaching. I wanted to eventually have a school, though I thought it was going to be a lot further off than it ended up being. But I wanted to get into teaching. I wanted to start marketing myself, so I wanted to get have a brand. And that's kind of where it started. But then, yeah, then I'm like, well, it makes sense to have the Meditative Groomer Academy. So
Yeah, yeah. So tell us about your academy.
it is, so we just opened this year. We're in Racine, Wisconsin, just south of Milwaukee. We are a small, 4-student max school. Um, and um, yeah, I'm basically I have 5 different programs, and I name them because I'm really into plants, and it was part of my whole branding thing. I named them. There's the seed, which is
Seed,
like the bathing.
I saw that. The
Yep.
seedling.
And then seedling is like a groomer assistant. So you start to learn like paw pads and sanitary and some silhouette trims. And then there's sprout, which is like entry level grooming. And then plant is uh where you start getting into like really getting into like the breed trims and perfecting those and stuff like that. And then my last one is actually it's the flower program, and it's actually just kind of like this 2-week continuing education marathon
Okay.
um, that we're gonna do once a year. I have a bunch of instructors coming in. Kat Early is going to be here for the whole time. Helen Schaefer, Lisa Leedy. So I'm bringing a bunch of people in to help me teach that one.
That
So
sounds fun.
yeah.
So is that one in person?
Yep, that one
Yeah,
is in
on
person.
site?
They're all in person. They have some online elements as well. I try to do some of the theory stuff online, but then also reiterate it while I'm in person.
Sure.
Um, and I specialize in neurodivergent learners. So people that are autistic, ADHD, dyslexic,
Mhm.
even just anxiety, depression, that kind of stuff. So um, I try to make sure I'm teaching from all different, like with all different types of teaching styles. So I have the online stuff, but then I make sure I reiterate the information in person because I mean, personally, I can't can't pay attention long enough to watch an online class. So for me, it was like, well, it almost only makes sense to have both. So
And it's tricky. It's really tricky. There's
yeah.
because of course whole pet we have an academy too, and when I'm doing my online classes, just trying to appeal to everyone's type of learning. They
Hmm.
need to see it and hear it and read it, and short bursts, and because if you can teach things in shorter bursts, then if they want to do a longer burst, they can just do more of them.
Yeah.
you know and
Yeah, and it gets tricky because everyone's a little different too. So
everybody's different. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And we find it a lot in the dog grooming world, don't we? Like, there are just
hmm.
so many of us. I
Yeah.
think I'm neurotypical, but then every time I say that, I have a friend laugh. So I don't know. I'm like, I think I'm neurotypical, and there's always at least one person in the room going, "Sure you are, Chrissy."
Yeah.
But, so you're gonna be at the Teton show, and we have you in the schedule for teaching, and I'm trying to remember what your class was, and I have it right here in front of me. Let me double check. Discovering focus, systems, and techniques for the neurodivergent groomer.
Yeah. Um, so that one
I'll add that in
um
the chat too, a link there.
yeah, I plan to have it as kind of a little bit more conversational where we're actually going to go through and we're going to talk about like different systems that I use. I want to, be able to talk to them about what they use and kind of make it more of a discussion. Um, but neurodivergent learners, and I think even neurotypical people, we have to have these systems to do something, and everybody needs a different type of system. And so um you know and it's whether you call it, you can call it a system or routine, or um but it's sometimes it can be really hard for us to find systems that work for us. And so I've found that it's just really nice to be able to kind of uh talk about it, and just so that it gets people's juices flowing to get creative with what they need to do. Like I make sure I have really bad time not time, I have that too. I have really bad object permanence. So if I can't see something, it doesn't exist. So I have to make sure that I have everything out where I can see it. And then I also do a lot of like my school. I haven't gotten quite as crazy as I plan to, but the school is going to have, I mean, we have signs for everything, just because, if you're working on a dog, and y- y- you're already so concentrated on working on the dog. You don't need to also be, trying to remember how to how to use the dryer that you've never, that you've used once before. So I try to make sure there's lots of signage just to explain things, that it makes it a little easier for them to get into the habit of how to do those things. Because I found if people are asking me like over and over, then it never really sticks. But where if they do it, but they have the instructions in front of them, it's a lot easier for them to remember. So,
Yeah. Finding your own way with some guidance is different than just asking.
yeah.
Like, well, we want you to learn how to do it and where things are, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
So, yeah,
well, and I think we tend to think about neurodivergent when we're learning, but what about just when we're working with coworkers?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and that's another thing that I plan to talk about during my class
Mhm.
is, and I have a whole nother class on communication as well. But I do want to touch on, you know, having a way to communicate, a system to communicate with your other coworkers. Um, because a lot of everybody communicates a little differently, and if neurodivergent people tend to, we need to have rules. We
Yep.
need to be told how it's going to go. Um so it takes a lot of the stress away if we're not constantly worried, like, well, what does that mean exactly? Where if we have a system in place to kind of work out that communication properly, um, so that no one's confused, then there's a lot less stress on everybody because, the person that's trying to tell the neurodivergent person, something isn't getting frustrated because the neurodivergent person doesn't understand. So,
Sure, sure. And formats and policies and, you know,
hmm
even down to like, okay, here, this is the way we like to write our notes.
hmm
This is what's important.
yeah.
Yeah.
Before this, I was teaching I was like, in doing on the job instruction
Mhm.
in a mobile business, and those were things that I definitely noticed is like I didn't even think to explain to people how to write notes. Like it just always had been natural, it had been natural to me for this whole time, so I had never thought about it. But then, like my first one went out and then like we were really struggling with their notes. And I'm like, "Oh, I got to really explain this." So, um yeah, that kind of stuff makes a huge difference. Um and having those policies so that you know exactly how you're going to do it. Um,
Sure, sure. And having sympathy with everybody around you that we all do things differently.
yep.
I'm sure it drives people crazy that I'm a list person and, I color code things to keep them organized, like,
Yeah.
I'm sure someone else out there is like, "That's ridiculous," but yeah, I have to do those things to keep myself on track, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm a post-it note person. Um,
okay, yeah.
and a lot of times there's just like something that I need to get in the habit of doing. So I write myself a post-it note and put it somewhere that's convenient. And eventually I get the hang of it and I don't need the post-it note anymore. But when I was working at one job, when I first started doing that, I was writing notes for myself, but then everybody thought I was writing notes for them. So that was like a communication issue we had, was everybody thought I was being like passive aggressive with these notes about it. I'm like, "Oh no, I needed that for myself." So,
Right, right. I left a note to read the notes, but that was for me, not for you. It's like,
yeah.
"Would you agree to leave a note to read the notes?" I'm like, "Yes, because 'cause they're in
Yeah.
different places." Well, and I find that this field draws a lot of really interesting different types of people anyway, and a lot
Yeah.
of us are not really great at being students. So,
Mhm.
we're artistic and we like to do stuff with our hands and visualize things and maybe not sit down at a computer for an hour, you know?
Yeah.
You know? Um, so when you're making your school, when you were deciding how to do that, what kind of things did you do special for your neurodivergent I'm stuttering over my own words, neurodivergent students?
Um, so one thing that comes off the top of my head is I make sure I do a weekly schedule of exactly what we're going to be doing so they can see it. They have a digital version, they have one that's hanging up in my classroom, so they always have that. I also I set up one room, I'm referring to it as the vibe room. And I just like, I have a couch in there and a nice chair, and I have a bookshelf and like calming lighting, and they can have their lunch break there, but they can also, if they're just feeling like overwhelmed or they just need a minute to themselves in the quiet, they can go to that room. And that's like, you know, you go hang out, you can go rest there, come back when you're feeling more calm, kind of thing.
Reset,
So
recharge. Yeah.
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 um I know I deal with getting overstimulated a lot, especially with all of the noises and the smells and
Mhm.
all of the things and the textures. So sometimes I need a break. I need to get away from it for a minute and wrap myself in a blanket for and sit in the corner for a minute. So that was something that was good for me as well as the students. Like, we'll be able to just go and recharge, and we can come back with a fresh mind, because you can't really groom a dog very well if you're overstimulated anyways.
No.
um it
It affects the
you're
dog's behavior too.
Yeah, it affects the dog's behavior, it'll slow you down, I know when I'm overstimulated, I take like twice as long to do everything. I miss all of the little like, that's when I'm missing like ear cleaning or a nail, like I miss a foot of nails, and it's because it's when I'm overstimulated like that, because there's just so much going on. So being able to kind of go and reset, and then I can come back and actually do a good job. Um, I want to do what's best for the dogs. So,
Yeah, yeah. And that's really good practice for all of us, you
mhm,
know? I'm a house call groomer because I just didn't wanna have to answer phones while I groom, and, I turn that off, put on some music, relax, and just work on the dog in front of me and the house in front of me, the people in front of me, but the dogs first, people second, and just, to be able to unwind while you groom and enjoy your grooming.
mhm,
Yeah. So
yeah,
when you're getting ready to groom a dog, do you find that you meditate and stuff a little bit with them?
yeah.
Yeah?
Um, the practice of grooming in general has, for the most part, become a meditation for me. I get so in the zone and so relaxed when I'm grooming, um, that most of the time, obviously, there's special situations where it's not as relaxing, but um, I like to make sure I wear like uh soundproof headphones as long as I can. And I just, I listen to an audiobook and it becomes a meditation for me. I I've found that my meditation is best when I'm actually not still. So I do it a lot when I'm doing things. I've made cooking a meditation, so I do that a lot, do that during grooming a lot, and it seems like it helps the dogs a lot. So
Yeah, I think, for me anyway, I think that grooming is just this relaxing Zen thing, you're
mhm.
like, "La, la, 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 la," doing the shapes, and
Yeah.
and
And
that's but it's nice to be able to, bring that into every dog that I groom.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, it's become most of grooming is muscle memory for me at this point.
Mhm.
Obviously, like, interacting with the dog I have to think about, but a lot of it is just muscle memory, so it's really easy for me to just kinda slip into a, like, relaxed state, and I'm, just doing my thing. I don't have to think too hard about what I'm doing on the haircut
Right,
because
right.
my body knows what to do, so I can really concentrate on just being relaxed and enjoying my time with the dog, so
Yeah, which is what we do it for.
mhm.
I mean, it's not just to get rich.
Yep. Definitely not.
Right? Like, oh, groom dogs get rich. There's another step somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But I think that it's so important to have that headspace because I don't know what the statistics are now, but for a long time there was just a really high rate of groomer burnout,
Mhm.
you know, and people who just decided like the job's too hard, it's too stressful, and but it doesn't need to be,
Yeah.
doesn't need to be.
No. And not just like mental burnout, but also physical burnout. We all, you know, it's very hard on our bodies. But, if we're taking care of our minds and, then we can also make sure we're doing things to take care of our body as well. I do a lot of like ergonomic kind of but I like ergonomics and stuff like that. So I I have suspected Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is an hypermobility in my joints.
Yeah,
So I rely on my muscles a lot to hold my joints together.
really.
um yeah, and so I had to stop grooming full time because on top of the EDS, I also didn't take care of my body very well. So, um, now I'm really, like, trying to push on my students, like, "You need to take care of your body," and so, um, I set up my shop to try to be as ergonomic as possible, and, I have, like, uh Chris Anthony is doing classes on ergonomics and yoga and
Mhm.
that kind of stuff so that they can learn how to take care of their bodies
Yeah,
because the burnout is real and we need to do things to keep our people in the grooming industry.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Stretching and
and happy.
strengthening. Yeah, stretching and strengthening and,
Mhm.
recognizing your limits. That's a
Yep.
tough one, recognizing your limits.
Yeah.
So we just posted your your class description for the Teton show, and I
Mhm.
believe we have you in on Friday. Yeah, Friday morning, 9 to
Yep.
10. Um, but just wanted to list that there for people too, because I'm really looking forward to your class. It's going to be fun.
Thank you.
One of the things we were talking about doing at the Teton show, and that's Teton, Idaho, May 18th through 21st this year, 2023. So there's still time to sign up, everybody. But one of the things we're talking about doing is a very informal, before all the classes start, meditation, Reiki share kind of a vibe thing for all of us who
I'm
are super
very
granola
excited
friendly.
about that.
Yeah, I know, right? There was some talk about like, can we find someone to lead some yoga in the morning? And because the whole vibe is very holistic, and
Yeah.
yeah, to start off the day that way, like, ooh, that'd be a lot of fun, you know?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm excited for that. So,
good, good. You gonna lead a meditation for us?
maybe.
We'll work on it.
More
We'll
like
work on it.
I'm probably more likely to lead yoga, to be
Okay.
honest.
See, there
So,
we go. All right, all
yeah.
right, all right. Writing it down. You heard it here.
Oh boy.
I know, right? No pressure. No, but the idea of us starting off the day like a very informal kind of a gathering for us hippies who wanna,
Yeah.
start the day off right. Um, yes, a lot of us do, meditation and yoga and Reiki and any other variety of things to just start the day off right. So
Yep.
hopefully you join us with that. Lead
Yeah.
some.
I
Yeah,
will definitely be there.
good, 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 good.
So, um, I'm also I don't know if you know I'm also gonna have a booth.
Yeah, so tell
Um
us about your booth.
Um, I'm basically I'm gonna be just there to introduce myself to people, and introduce the school. Um, I don't really plan on having anything really for sale necessarily. I'm not gonna be
Okay.
super exciting. I mostly just wanna kinda get to know people and, um, talk. I like talking, so
Yeah, well, and promoting the school, I mean,
yeah,
that's
promoting the school.
that's fun, that's
Yeah.
fun, and, see who's interested, So, do you with your school, you teach brand new students and then also, like, groomers who are looking for continuing ed, experienced groomers too? Yeah?
Yep,
Awesome,
yep.
great. So,
That
any
that
groomer at any level can come and
Yep,
talk to you about your school.
exactly. Um,
Excellent.
and that flower program, that 2-week marathon of learning, that one's gonna have, like it's gonna be introduction to, creative grooming, and introduction to show grooming, and an introduction to, competition grooming, so, like, people who are interested in that can get, like, real hands-on practice and, like, learning from that, um, and
I looked at your website and there are some really great names there. So tell us who works with you. Brag on your people. Come on.
um, let me uh, trying to think of them all off the top of my head. Um, so I think I talked about, like, Kat Early, Lisa Leedy, uh, Maggie Alfredo,
Oh, great.
Samantha Paila, the
Kayla.
enrichment groomer,
Yep.
Paila,
We talked to her last week. Yeah. Or earlier.
um, Angie Coates,
Angie Coates. Yeah. Also a whole
uh,
pet. Yeah.
Chris Anthony,
Yeah.
um,
Who
Marky
will
James.
also be at Angie Coates and Chris Anthony will also be at Teton.
Yep,
Yeah. They're part of Whole Pet. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, Marky James, Kate Klassen, uh,
Nice. She's going to be at the
and
Teton show also.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep going.
um,
Keep going. This is great.
yeah,
Got some
and
great.
then Christine Pearson also. I
Oh,
have
fabulous.
my seed program is going um every one of them will get the certified canine esthetician from her.
Nice.
Um, and once she gets her master one out, uh, then that will be in my Sprout program as well. So
Excellent.
want to make sure my students know about skin and coat. So
Yes. Yeah. Super important. Yeah.
yep,
So you got a bunch of great people working there. That's
yeah.
good. I like it. How long have you had the school?
We just opened this year.
Yeah.
Um, I've been working on it for a few years now. It's been a bumpy road, but we got there.
A lot.
So, there was a whole we were living in Illinois and decided to move to Wisconsin because we found the perfect building for it. It was an old hair salon, so it had, like, all of the things already here that we needed. And we live upstairs, so we moved, and
Wow.
it's been a process, but
Yeah. So everything changed
yep,
in the past, like, 2
everything.
years? Wow.
Yeah, we, sold our house that we had for about 10 years, moved up here, so lots of change. So,
So you have this dog here, and then you listed off a bunch of other pets on your website. Who else do you have?
so I have another dog named Addison. She's shy, so she she
Not gonna
probably
show
will
up for
not
us.
come over. And then I think actually I don't know if I've recently updated my thing, but we lost a few since I wrote that.
Mm,
So we have 2 cats of our own, Fry and Chiana. Um and then we have a foster cat that lives in the shop. She got returned after 5 years of living with a family. And so now she lives in the shop and she probably won't leave because she's terrified of everyone. Um,
aw,
but she has a very active, fun life in the shop at night when everybody leaves. So
aw.
Um, but then we also have one turtle that lives in the lobby, actually.
It lives in the lobby?
Yep.
What
My
kind of turtle?
husband, it's a red-eared slider.
Oh, okay.
Um, and my husband made a giant uh turtle, I don't know, home.
Habitat,
Um,
aquarium,
it's
terrarium.
Yeah, it's got a 150-gallon trough for like feeding, like watering cattle, and then he built a whole platform around it so that she can get up and walk around on, and sunbathe and all of that. It's intense.
Turtles are
So,
so cute.
yes. Um, her name is Caligula. She's not a very nice turtle,
Aw.
but we still love her. Um, yeah, that's our animals.
So
So,
that's your gang. All right.
yep.
Just looking at your website again. I know, right? And let's see. It says here you have a blog too. Oh, sorry. Nothing on there.
Not
Sorry.
yet. We actually are just we're going to be putting our first blog up this month.
Yeah.
Um we are starting this thing every month. I have uh a theme, and we do a few infographics, and then I do a video educating like pet owners, and then we do a blog, um and words. uh what was I going to say? Oh, and so this this month is collars and leashes. We're going to talk about how to properly fit collars.
Oh,
Um,
great.
'Cause I've been noticing a lot of loose dogs who slip their collars in my area, and I'm like, I think I
Mm.
should probably probably send some education out to them over
Yeah,
there.
right.
So,
People with a harness and a leash and no dog.
yep.
Yeah, and there's a lot of equipment out there for people to try on, you know? Yep.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna do a pretty thorough thing about the different types of leashes and harnesses, and what they're used for. So, like, I'll talk about, how the prong collar is supposed to be used if you're gonna use it, you know.
If you're gonna use
Um,
it's only when you're holding a leash. Yeah.
yep. And
Aw,
just
cute
throw
kitty.
throw away the flexi lead.
Yeah. Yeah, the flexies. Okay, you have reached a parking lot of a grooming business. Hit the lock on your flexi lead. Please lock
Yep.
that at 4 to 6 feet.
Yep.
So you plan on doing one of those every month. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
we're gonna do, yeah, it'll be a different theme every month. I know at some point I was planning on doing one that's like on emergency preparedness,
great
um,
topic. Yeah,
stuff like that.
yep.
So,
In fact, I think that's what Kate Klassen is teaching. Yep.
yep.
Ah, she's teaching that at the same time as your class, so we'll talk about your class instead right now.
Yeah. I'm kind of sad though, because I really would have liked to seen her class. Uh,
Right? Every once in a while, I'm like, "Oh, man, I'm teaching whilst the class that I wanna go to is going on." Oh,
yep.
well. But yeah, emergency preparedness, that's a big topic. It's a big topic.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't think about it until
Yeah.
they need it.
Yeah. And it goes
So,
beyond first aid. It's not just about first aid. It's about what if I need to evacuate this building with all of
mhm.
these pets, you know?
Yeah.
Terrifying.
No, and that's super important. No, I love what Kate is doing actually, because we definitely have a need for that in general.
We do.
Um,
Yep. Yep. Because
so
if you have a plan, then you don't have to worry about it. Like,
yeah,
nope, anything could happen. I'm ready, you know?
yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep, having a
So
plan. So, what is your favorite dog to groom or cat? What's your favorite animal to groom? Let's put it that way. Turtle.
um I've never tried grooming a turtle. If it's anything
Just
like
skincare
Caligula,
for
I
turtles.
probably won't enjoy it.
Just skincare for turtles. Skincare, shell maintenance.
Yeah. Um, honestly, my favorite is the Cocker Spaniel.
Yeah,
Yep, I'm the weirdo who likes the Cocker Spaniels. Uh, but I mean, I love doing just about any dog,
mhm,
really. And I do really love cats. I loved grooming cats. It's always been enjoyable for me. I don't know.
yeah,
So, hard for me to decide, I guess.
I know. It's kind of an odd question, like, wait a minute, there's so many options." And then in the middle of
Yep.
the night, you'll wake up going, "Why didn't I say that one?" You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, I think, we all have our own, like, little interests within dog grooming, you know?
Yeah.
And, there are just so many things to try and so many things
Yeah.
to do, all of the things, you know? Um
Yeah. Though I will say, I was really missing having, poodles on a regular basis today because I was teaching my student, clean face and feet, and and I got to see poodles for the first time in a while because I haven't been grooming full time, and I was like, "I miss poodles." They're
I
so fun to groom.
you know, they are. They're so much
Yeah.
fun to groom. I I have a soft spot for the poodles.
Yeah.
Yep, and the clean face, feet, and tail, I mean, it just looks so nice, you
Yeah, it
know?
does.
It does.
No, I as much as I hate doing clean feet, I still enjoy the rest of it so much that I'm like, "I'll deal with the clean feet."
Oh, you don't like it?
I don't enjoy the clean feet. It's just, it's hard for me to, like, grip their foot well enough, um, because my hands are extremely hypermobile, so
Oh,
I tend
okay.
to end up in a lot more pain when I'm doing it, but, uh, I'm like, "I'll just live through it so I can do the rest of the poodle."
Aw.
So,
Well, we don't want you to just live through it, you know?
well,
Every student does poodle feet now.
yeah, pretty much. I'm like, maybe at this point we can get a poodle because then someone else can do my poodle feet for me."
See, there you go. That
Yeah.
works. That works. So you're running a booth for your school at the show and
Mhm.
you're teaching your class. What else are you gonna be up to this spring and this early summer? Do you have other shows you're
Uh,
going to?
yeah, I'm going to Tacoma in March. Driving
Okay.
out to that one. I have on the way back, I'm going into Oregon for, I'm doing a day of seminars, at a shop there afterwards. So,
Nice.
yeah. Um, and then after Idaho, I have a little break until All American, and
And
I'm gonna
that's
go
in
to All American and then
August?
immediately to Super Zoo.
And then to Super Zoo.
Yeah.
Those are August, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
August.
yeah.
So, because Super Zoo is literally starts, like, 2 days after All American ends.
Oh god.
Yeah. And I'm like, "But I really wanna go to Super Zoo, and I'm not gonna miss my home like, my home one because
Right.
All
Don't wanna miss
American
the
is in
local
Chicago."
show.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry?
Don't wanna miss the local show.
No. So, I am gonna be leaving a day or like, leaving because 'cause I'm driving. So, I'm gonna leave on, Sunday morning to go towards Vegas, but, I
How
don't like
long of a
planes.
drive is that?
Uh, I think it's, like, a total of 25 hours?
Oh my god.
So, I'm breaking it up. Um, but yeah, it's about a total of 25 hours. I don't do well on planes. It'll just ruin my entire trip. So, I'm gonna just drive to all of the shows. So,
Sounds fun.
yeah.
Sounds fun. So is there anything you're dying to tell people about? Hmm.
I should.
I
I'm
know,
sure there's
right?
something.
There's something.
Um,
There must be something.
yeah. Well, I would like to say I do also have a podcast
Oh,
called
you
Grooming on the
do?
Spectrum.
Grooming on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can look that up.
Yeah, we
Maybe I'll
just
put it
started
in
this
link
year.
too. Grooming on the spectrum podcast. Let me look that up. All right. Awesome. Hold on a second. Copy. Here we go. And I see there's a video here too. You have, oh, no, that's not. Back out of that. Let's see. I'm just looking them up for you.
Yeah, but it's about being neurodivergent and grooming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we
That's
also have
awesome.
a Facebook group, and we do lives in there fairly often, every other week,
Okay.
I think. So,
All right.
yeah.
Okay, good. I didn't have your Facebook group on here. Darn it. I'll have to find it.
Yeah.
Add it to the links.
It's Grooming on the Spectrum.
Grooming on the
That's
spectrum.
what
All
it's
right,
called.
everybody. We'll find it on Facebook. Grooming on the spectrum.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great because so many groomers are
Yeah.
neurodivergent. So many of us are on the spectrum somewhere, you know?
Yeah. No,
Um,
and I felt like there was more we needed more of a community with it, so, um, we, talk about different topics, for each episode. I think the last one that went out was about self-criticism. I info dump a lot because I like to on my free time, I like to read, um, research papers off of Google Scholar. So,
okay.
it's
Yep.
basically the episodes are me info dumping and Meg, my friend Meg doing she does she has to, like, mediate me to make sure that I don't go off on the rails. 'Cause I could just go forever sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
So you have someone who's like, "Okay, but say it in like non-scholar speak." You
yeah.
know?
I'm pretty good at, like, not making it so, like, up there, but I just will like, once I start, I just can't stop. And,
Get it.
yeah, it'll just go on forever, so Meg is there, they just, will be like, "Alright, now we're gonna move on to the next the next section." They make a whole, like, not a script, but like a, uh, breakdown of it so that I don't completely go off on a completely other tangent. So
Stick to the outline as best as you can.
yeah, I try.
That's awesome. So now I have another podcast to listen to. Yay!
Yeah, we're
Excellent.
just starting out this year, but we're excited, so and the more
Excellent. That's
people that
great.
listen, the more we will, actually push ourselves to make sure we do things on time. So,
That's the hard part. That's the
yeah,
hard part. My
we're both
podcast has been going
procrastinators
on
too.
for years, and yeah, yeah. It's hard to make time for sometimes, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Um, so think think that wraps it up. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so
Yeah.
excited to meet you. We're
Me
gonna have
too, I'm
so
excited
much
to meet you.
fun. So much fun. All right. Then, that being said, if everybody would like to come to the Teton, Idaho Grooming Expo, It's the tetongroomingexpo.com. And we still have whole bunch of fun things happening, and there's still actually some space for vendors. If a vendor wants to join in, please do. And Stephenie will be there teaching on Friday morning. So let me wrap it up there. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.